Hello everyone, welcome to the demo session on SAP UI5. In this session, we will discuss basics of SAP UI5. We will see how we can use our local Eclipse environment to build a simple SAP Fiori app. We'll also have a brief look at what is that you're going to get with this training throughout the complete course. So let's get started. I would like to first introduce you with the overall picture of the entire course. This whole course is divided into 4 pieces. The first piece talks about basic foundation for UI5, which includes these open standards called HTML5, CSS, JavaScript, and jQuery. These are all the open standards which we all use for web-based application development. So we will be covering foundation for SAP UI5 and these 4 topics, which are bare minimum. Even though you are developing any web-based application, these 4 technologies are a foundation. Very important. We will be covering them in this course. So even though you are college pass out, you literally don't have any knowledge on UI5, you can still learn it. There is literally no prerequisite. The only prerequisite what you have is for the last section, which is ABAP. We'll come to it. So then comes the next part of it. We will talk about SAP UI5 framework and controls. How to build desktop-based applications using SAP UI5. We'll look at the architecture of SAP UI5. There is a very important interview question. What is the difference between Open UI5 and SAP UI5? We'll talk about it in Unit 2. So then we will discuss how to develop UI5 based application, different syntaxes, model view controller architecture. All these things will be discussed during this unit. Moving on to the very interesting and most important section of this course, which is Fiori Introduction and Application Development. How to develop SAP Fiori applications user experience using SAP Fiori. So we will talk about it. SAP.m is the library which we use for building Fiori app. How to give a shape to the user experience. Lots of interview questions will be covered in this course. So it's my track record that whoever has taken this training, there are very high chances to crack an interview because most of the interviewers also took training from me. So that is the reason you will see most of the interview questions will also be covered in this course. Okay, so in this we'll discuss Fiori libraries and also basics of all the types of apps. So there are basically 3 types of apps: transactional, analytical, and fact sheet. We will talk about transactional apps, how to develop them, not the fact sheet and analytical. Last section comes is the OData service development, where we'll talk about what is OData service, how to consume it with SAP Fiori applications, and then how to develop OData service in NetWeaver gateway system. We'll discuss about Fiori front-end server, Fiori back-end server, what is the architecture, and how to build OData service in NetWeaver gateway. So for this prerequisite is ABAP knowledge. Even though you are not coming from a ABAP background, you can still develop OData service with a simple one. I will show you a technique where even though you don't know ABAP programming, you can still develop the OData service. That's not all. Out of this picture, we have lots of interesting stuff to cover, including custom controls, Google Map integration with SAP UI5. We'll talk about something called object-oriented ABAP. So I will share complimentary videos on OOPS ABAP with you. Complimentary OOPS ABAP videos. If you are just an ABAPer, you don't have any idea on OOPS, I will share the complimentary videos on object-oriented ABAP with you. So with that, you get a feel of OOPS ABAP, and then you will be able to code OData services using the same. Okay, that is what will also be covered in this course. We'll also talk about latest concepts which nobody will cover in industry. Believe me, you go anywhere for any training, you will not see anybody touching upon on those concepts. These concepts are component.js concept, router concept, manifest.json, route match handler. All these concepts will also be included and covered in this course, which nobody will cover in industry. You go for any video based or live training, nobody is covering these concepts. In fact, they don't even know about it. Okay, but to build a Fiori app in Web IDE or in local, which can be integrated with Fiori Launchpad, we must need these concepts. I will talk about what is Fiori Launchpad, what is, integration, what is component JS, everything will be covered. So don't worry about it. Okay. Okay. This is a brief introduction. That's not all. We will also talk about introduction of HANA Cloud Platform and SAP Web IDE. SAP Web IDE is web-based application development. How to use SAP Web IDE to develop a web-based application completely into the cloud. We will discuss about that also into it. If you all have any questions, please feel free to post a question in the chat box. And during the demo also, you can post your questions. Once I will give a hold in the middle, in the breakout time, I will take up these questions and answer you. So never feel that you cannot ask question in the middle. You can always ask questions in the middle. Put it in the chat box. And even though if I'm not able to understand, please unmute your line and ask the questions accordingly. So any questions from any one of you before we proceed with our demo? Anybody? Any questions? No questions?
No, Anubhav.
Yes, let's get started then. So what is that you're going to get with this course? So you are going to get this blog access, as you can see on my screen. In this blog access, you will get the course schedule. What is the schedule of our course? The course will be starting officially from 15th August, which is tomorrow. And we'll have a daily 1 hour of session approximately. Sometimes it may be 1.5 hours also possibly. And then we will end this course by 19th of October, which is approximately 2 months of time. And you would need only the server access for last 10 sessions, which is again on demand. You may also use your company's server for audited building. You don't need to opt for any server extra. So what you can do, I will show you in the OData chapter how to check whether your company's server is equipped to build an OData service or not. So you can use the same. You don't need to really spend on this. So we will talk about it. Remaining period of time, which is 80% of your course, will be covered using local development environment called Eclipse. I will also show you how to set up Eclipse. How to set up. You literally don't need to know anything, guys. You come blank for this course. I will cover everything. It's my guarantee. I will cover everything from scratch. You just come blank as if you are college pass out. If you just college pass out, have a brief idea about programming, that's it. You don't need anything for this course. That is how it is designed. You can also go with the complete video based approach, learn with the videos. You literally don't need to come for the daily classes. Completely you can, if your timings are not suitable, you can go with video based training. So I have recently finished one batch. You can take all the videos of that batch, or you can also join the recent batch, and daily one video will be posted into the blog. You can go through it. Even though you miss out a session, you will be able to look at that session. Also, even though you attended, you were unable to concentrate, you will be able to look at the recording of that class into our blog later point of time. Yeah, so that is about the options. Coming to the course content, we will, as I mentioned, the overall structure of the course. You can also look at the course content in detail over here. Whatever are the details, you can just check it, all the latest concepts. Then schedule of the class. So daily, how do you attend my class? How do you know that this is the link to join the class? How do you know whether there is a class or not? All that you don't need to follow with anybody. You can just come to course schedule and you will see a calendar request here. Just double click on the calendar request and it will show you the link to join this particular session. You don't need to every day email or call someone and follow up with them whether we have a class or we don't have a class. If there is a class, what is the link? Just double click on the calendar request. You will get the link of the class and you can join with that. So literally no follow-ups, is required. So this was a major problem which I encountered in my previous trainings like WebDin Pro, and people were, every day they used to follow it up with the trainer, which is not needed anymore. It's a self-managed things. You will get to know everything in advance just by this. Then recordings, every day we have a session, we will record it, we will put it over here, and then you can always go through it whenever you get the time. Even though you missed the session because your office work, you can always come back here and go through the video later point of time. All the code what we develop, all the projects, all the PPTs, PDFs, any study material which I would like to share with you, everything will be published over here, and everything is downloadable except videos. So you can download all the course content, all the other material, PPT, PDF files, all the projects what we built, everything will be available here. You all can download it and keep it with you lifetime possible. Then comes is the useful links. Here you will see all the important links which I will be discussing during the classes. So you can use directly these links. You don't really need to follow it up with me every day. All the useful links will be available over here. Then coming to the attendance sheet, right now not relevant. And then in case if you have something very urgent to talk about, you can always call me on my number with the preferred timing given also here with my email ID. Okay. Then comes to the discussion and blog post. So if you are following with videos, you're stuck with something, you really don't have an idea what to do, you can always create a blog post here for your question. You can also do an attachment of your project which you are stuck with, and I will answer your questions in here itself. So literally very self-service managed, everything is managed self in this blog. Now one more important update, how do you know whether I have created the session recording, I've updated the recording or not? How do you get to know updates about the changes on this? So you will get to know easily. Just go here to the option, click on the settings button and say subscribe to site changes. So I will give you the access to all of you, those who are joining this course for this blog. Come to the section called discussions and blog post. Discussions and blog post, and here you go to the settings button and click on sharing and permission. Click on subscribe to site changes. With this you will be subscribed to the site changes. Anything which I change into it, you will get an email automatically. So with this you will get to know if you asked a question, this question gets circulated to everybody in the blog also, and other people can also answer it. Okay, it's possible to do that. So this will be a very, very well managed thing, well managed training. Literally zero follow-ups is required for doing all this. Okay, great. So this is how you can manage the overall sessions, overall learning. You can progress, you can really ask your questions, you can really talk about it. If you have developed something good, you can always share, because sharing is the best way of learning. So we are a group of people, we together share. So every batch there's a learning for me also. Okay, so I also learn together with you guys. I'm also not perfect. I also learn with you guys. But it's my guarantee, if you just follow the sessions, nobody can beat you in your company, for that matter, in SAP UI5. And you can easily be able to go through the development cycle of SAP UI5 based applications. So let's get started now. If you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat box. If not, then probably we'll get started with our UI5 session, and we'll see how to build a very simple application using UI5. So what is SAP UI5? Very first question. We will also talk about most of the interview questions and how to handle interview questions. See what happens, we know the concepts many times, but we are unable to explain the concept during interview. And because of that, even though we have the right knowledge, since we are unable to convey our answer to the interviewer, we are unable to crack the interview. So our main intention is also to look at the interview questions, but also to look at the answers in a brief, how to give a short and sweet answer, and we will also design our answers in such a way that interviewer will be forced to ask a question out of it. So, he will feel like he's driving the interview, but he's not. You are driving the interview. You will give an answer in such a way that there is a question hidden in that answer, and with that question he will definitely put up that question against you, and then you will answer the question. In that again one more question is hidden inside that answer which you gave, and then with that you are driving the interview. You are making him psychologically forcing him to ask a question from the answers which you are giving. That is how we will be driving. So we'll learn all these tactics during the course, how to effectively answer the questions, how to effectively handle, but knowledge is the key. Of course, you have to have a knowledge and a confidence to crack an interview, and then it's just a very easy game, because I do give a lot of trainings on interviews as well to the company, so I know how to ask questions, what kind of questions do they do ask, and how to handle them easily. So let's start with SAP UI5. What is SAP UI5? SAP UI5, it is a framework. So SAP UI5 is a framework. When somebody asks what is SAP UI5, it is a framework developed by SAP to create web-based applications. The applications can also be adapted automatically as per devices. So these applications can also be adapted as per the devices. So this is a mobile world. You'll see more and more software consumption is happening through tablets and mobile devices. So there's a need to bring in a technology which also supports mobile devices, and that's what SAP UI5 also does. It also supports the application for mobile devices. We will talk about it. That's what is called Fiori user experience. Then the framework is built on top of open standards. What is open standard? Open standard is open sources like HTML5, CSS, JavaScript, and jQuery. There are other like less framework, Data.js, D3, Area. All these are all the other open standards on top of it. SAP UI5 framework is built, but mainly when it comes to SAP UI5, we say about these 4 open standards. So the framework is built on top of open standards like HTML5, CSS, JavaScript, and jQuery. What are all these things then? This is your answer to the interviewer, and interviewer then will ask you what is HTML5, what is CSS, what is JS, what is jQuery. So this is how you see. You give an answer in that there is another question hidden. You give an answer, you talked about open standards. The moment you say this, he will ask you what is open standard. So you know what answer you are giving in that another question is hidden. He will ask you this question, and then you answer the another way, and then he will ask another question. So you are actually psychologically driving your interview, making him ask the questions which are hidden in your answers, and he will do it. So you are driving interview. You will easily go through the interview and crack it. That's my guarantee to you if you just have to follow the PPTs. So we will build a PPT, we will build all the definition theory in here. I will explain all the concepts over here, and with that you will be easily be able to manage any interview on UI5 and Fiori. Believe me. Okay, let's get started with HTML5. What is HTML5? Is the latest version of HTML, nothing else. There are trainers on internet who doesn't even know the difference between HTML5 and UI5. What will they teach? I really don't understand. What will they teach? They don't even know the difference between these two. So HTML5 is the latest version of HTML with much better UI capabilities. I will explain you about the difference between UI5 and HTML5, and also the HTML and HTML5. So it's the latest version. What is the difference between HTML and HTML5? We will have a deep dive in this in our first chapter of HTML. So what is it used for? It is used to design static web pages. What does it mean? It means a web page which just looks like with controls. It has all the controls. So all your controls like button, input field, radio button, check boxes, drop down, list. Everything can be designed using HTML, but you cannot write logic. It's actually a markup language. It's not a programming language. So you can't write the logic. A static web page can be designed using HTML5. A static web page means no programming logic. That's what a static web page is, no programming language. HTML stands for hypertext markup language. Very good. That's your perfect definition for HTML5. HTML stands for hypertext markup language, and it's a latest version of HTML with much better capabilities. It is used to design static web pages. Then interviewer will ask you what is static web page. You will answer the web page which doesn't have any programming logic is called static web page. See, this is how you're driving your interview. So we'll talk about in detail about HTML5 in Unit 1, where we will have a deep dive in HTML and HTML5 concepts. Then comes is the CSS. So as we discuss CSS stands for cascading style sheets. It is used to style the web application, web pages. It is used to style the web pages. Like you have created a web page, you have added the controls to it, but how do you prettify them? How do you arrange the spacing between them? How do you create different colors? How do you change background colors? How do you change font of your texts? All the styling will be controlled by CSS. So we will see the advantages of using CSS. There are three types of styling: internal styling, inline styling, and external styling. We'll talk about cascading style sheets in Unit 2 of our basics, where we are covering basics. So that is CSS. Then comes is JavaScript. So one thing you all need to understand for this course, you don't need to know Java. See, by blood, we all are ABAPers. So most of the people who are joining this course are programmers, and they somehow do, good in ABAP programming. You're not good probably in Java. So when you see word Java, you get, terrified. Oh my God, I need to learn Java. No, you don't need to learn Java. Java and JavaScripts both are completely different programming language. Understand this. This question was asked also to me many times by some of you. JavaScript and Java are completely different. You don't need to learn Java for this course. JavaScript is a programming language. Different than Java. Remember, it's not Java at all. You don't need to learn any Java, guys. You just need to learn JavaScript, and I will teach you that. So it's a programming language which is used to manage the logic for web applications. So this is where your logic will be controlled. So HTML just create a static web page, but if you want to write the logic, like when user click on button, what should happen? That you write using JavaScript. So we will talk about syntax of JavaScript. Believe me, it's very easy. Even college students learn JavaScript and they build beautiful apps using JavaScript. You don't need to, really worry about this part. I will teach you JavaScript from scratch. You literally don't need to know anything at all. We will learn JavaScript also in this course. So it's a programming language which is used to manage the logic of web application. So that's what JavaScript is. There are two types of JavaScript: client-side JavaScript and server-side JavaScript. I will explain you about both of them in our chapter of JavaScript. Then comes is the jQuery. So JavaScript typically considered to be, a very heavyweight technology, as in you have to write lot of code. So to simplify the JavaScript code, we use a JS library called jQuery. So in JavaScript, you have to write a lot of code. Now, in order to simplify the JavaScript code, what you're writing, you write, let's say, 5 lines. Now, these all 5 lines can be written using jQuery in a single line. Possible. Okay. So 5 lines of code in JavaScript can be written using jQuery in a single line. So that's how you simplify your code. So that's why we will cover jQuery also. What is jQuery? It's just a JavaScript library which allows you to simplify the JavaScript code. So now you know all the 4 things what I've used here, the open standards, and these are all the open standards we will also talk about during our course. We will learn them from scratch. I literally expect zero knowledge on any of these things from you. Other courses, if you go anywhere on any platform, they expect a full knowledge on these 4 things from you, and that's why you are not able to learn till now. You have, worked really hard. You went to different platforms, different websites, different videos you watch, but you are still not able to get through the UI5 and Fiori learning because this knowledge is missing. This is the knowledge which is missing. I will give you this knowledge. With this knowledge, you will be not just able to learn UI5 Fiori, you will also be able to learn any web-based application development, guys. This is going to be our starting point for the course. So now, you know what is SAP UI5? Let's get started with our first example. We will just create a very simple UI5 application. Now, even before that, we need to understand a couple of things. How to create a web-based, how to create a UI5 application. What are all the prerequisites? So first prerequisite is we need to set up the environment. In this case, the environment which we're going to use is Eclipse. So I will show you in the next unit, in the next class, how to set up Eclipse. What is that you need to do to set up Eclipse in your computer so that you can develop? And it's an open source, it's free. So you don't need any server access to build a Fiori app. No server access is required, guys. You can build Fiori apps, UI5 apps completely using Eclipse environment. Keep it in your local. Now you must be wondering how the data will come. We will use local data. I will show you how to use local data when we'll go to model chapter on MVC architecture. So this is what is the first thing which we need to do. I will show you how to set it up. Then we will learn basics, and after setting up the environment, we can start development of application in Eclipse. We can also test them. So this is something which I am not covering today. I will cover it in the next unit when we'll start with our basics of HTML5, CSS, JavaScript, and jQuery. So that's where I will cover how to set up Eclipse environment to be used for local development. We can also develop all these things using Eclipse. It's open source, free of cost, nothing required. Only you need to do how to set it up. I will make it set it up for all of you. So I have already set it up in my computer, and I will be using it for today's demo as well. So tomorrow's session, or sorry, our first session, I will show all of you how to set it up in your local computer. So you don't need any server access for developing the apps. Okay. Now, when we start the application development, we need to remember a couple of things. The very important thing is we need to load the SAP UI5 framework in the web app which we are developing. So we will develop a web-based application. So this application uses SAP UI5 framework. right? So how do we load SAP UI5 framework into our web application? So to load the UI5 application, UI5 framework into our application, we use a bootstrap code. A bootstrap code is what is used. What is bootstrap? Boot means initialization. Strap, I'm not sure about strap. So bootstrap means initialization of a framework. That's what called bootstrap. So you are actually going to use SAP UI5 framework. So you got to initialize the SAP UI5 framework even well before your application loads. So you need to instantiate, you need to basically start the framework first, and on top of it your application will start. So you have to put a bootstrap code in order to start the application. So the moment I create a UI5 application code, this bootstrap will be automatically added to my file, HTML file. Okay, so the code will look like this: script ID SAP UI bootstrap. This will be the ID of your bootstrap. Then there will be properties like SRC property, from where the UI5 framework will be loaded. It will be /resources /SAP-UI-core.js. This will be your resources. So like that, you will have a couple of more attributes like theme, which theme will be loaded, equals to this, and then library, lib, which library will be loaded. So this, what is a framework? First of all, let's understand. So we are saying we need to load SAP UI5 framework. So what is a framework here? So framework is nothing but it's collection of libraries. These libraries, what is a library? Library is a collection of controls and classes. What do I mean by control? I mean by control here called UI controls, like button, text, label, radio, table, drop down, list. All these are your UI controls. So collection of UI controls is a library. And then you have classes. So you have different classes like SAP UI Core MVC class, SAP.UI.router class. So there are different classes which are consist inside every library. So we'll be using these libraries to build our app, and collection of all these library makes a framework. So if these libraries are SAP libraries, they make SAP UI5 framework. So as I told you, the SAP UI5 is a very powerful framework. I'm sure some of you already have idea on WebDyn Pro framework, SAP WebDyn Pro technology, or some of you have also worked with the BSP. These technologies have now become obsolete. Sooner or later you will see people start losing their job which are working on WebDyn Pro and BSP, because these technologies have become now obsolete. After 5 years you will see 0 jobs on these technologies. 0. That is what is happening, and that's why we all are here to learn UI5, which is the latest technology which we will be using and learning in here. So SAP UI5 framework, as I told you, it supports all the 3 devices. So you have support for desktop, you have support for tablets, and you have support for mobile. Okay, so desktop, tablet, and mobile device is what SAP UI5 supports. Now for supporting these particular devices, SAP provides certain set of libraries. Okay, so these libraries, I will just quickly show you example of these libraries. So there are libraries like sap.ui.commons. This is one library which contain common controls for desktop based application development. Then you have sap.ui.ux3. This is for user experience library. Okay, we'll talk about it in detail about these libraries. So then there are other libraries like sap.ui.unified. library. This is for mainly download upload functionality. Then you have sap.ui.comp library, which is for smart controls. Then you have sap.m library. Then you have sap.ui.layout library. You have sap.ui.table library. Yeah, there are different libraries, guys, like this, which are part of this SAP UI5 framework. I'm just naming very few of them, which we will be using in this course. These are all the libraries what this framework contains. Now, if you see on the left-hand side, the libraries which are listed here, if you are using these libraries, you are building an application for desktop devices actually. You are building an application for desktop devices, and some part of tablet also it'll go good, it'll display good. But if you are using sap.m and UI layout library, you are building an app more for the mobile device. It doesn't mean these app won't run for desktop. These app will also run for desktop as well. So that is why these days it become popular that they all use these libraries rather than using UI Commons and other libraries on the left, sorry. So a mobile based application can also render well into desktop. So that's why SAP has made these other libraries more like deprecated libraries. They don't use them anymore. So, but we'll still see what is there in these libraries, how we can use them, leverage them to build a desktop based application if at all we want to. Okay. Then comes the another part at the bottom. Some of them are also called core libraries. There are some core libraries which are there in the framework. These are all called, the first one is the sap.ui.core library. This contains all the major artifacts, major classes like view class, controller class, component class. All these classes are present in this particular library. Then you have sap.ui.router. You have sap.ui.model. So these are all the other classes which are present into your SAP UI5 framework, which will be helpful for us to build different things. We will talk about every class in detail when we will get into the course. So you understand now what is SAP UI5 framework. Inside, technically, it's a collection of libraries. These libraries contains core libraries and control libraries. So all the control libraries, what you see here, these are all the control libraries which contains actually UI controls. And at the bottom you have core libraries. These core libraries will actually be used with the control libraries to build the apps. Okay. We use again model view controller framework. This is what will be discussed in detail in unit 6. So once you get some maturity, we will see how to build the application using model view controller. Okay guys, we will see that in detail, the MVC architecture. But for today's demo, I will not show MVC based app. We'll just create a simple web based application using one of the library, let's say UI Commons library. So in today's demo, I will be using this library to build the app, SAP UI Commons. So let's get started with the syntax. Why you are unable to learn from other websites or other sources till now? Because they do not follow a simple pattern. They do not introduce the syntax. They do not teach basics. And because of all these lack in knowledge, you are unable to learn. But I will make you, all of you, self-dependent. My idea of the training is, if you after taking the training not able to do the code, not able to manage the apps, I feel as a trainer. So you need to become self-dependent. You will not be dependent on anybody after this course. So let's get started with the syntax for creating an app. So creating a control on the screen. So we say var o control name, whatever name you want to give, you can give that. V should be small. It's a JavaScript syntax to create a variable. O means object. Everything is an object. Okay, everything is an object. Remember, in this whole course I will keep on repeating this. Everything is an object. So control is also an object. You create a control object equals to new is a keyword. So we'll use new keyword, and then we use SAP library name dot control name from the library, and then we put properties like SID and S properties. Okay, so what is SID here? SID is nothing but unique ID of the UI control. That's what SID is. And S properties are nothing but properties of UI control. We'll see this, how to build it. So whenever we give the properties, we provide them in curly braces. This is the symbol for curly braces. We got to give all the properties in curly braces. So now, if I want to create a button on the screen, I will be using var my control name equals to new. I will be using here sap.ui.commonslibrary.button to create a button control. We'll give an ID for this button control, and then we will also give the properties for the button control, like what should be the text for the button which will be displayed. What will happen when user click on the button? All that we will be doing. We will be assigning the properties for the button. So you don't need to right now understand also, just understand the syntax. Don't need to understand the technicality behind syntax. Once you understand JavaScript, which I will cover in Unit 3, you will understand the syntax also in detail, in depth. Okay, that is also will be covered. So right now just follow the syntax and create a simple app. So I come back to my Eclipse environment. This is the Eclipse. Some of you are seeing it for the first time. So don't need to worry. We will install Eclipse in your computer tomorrow, how to set it up, and then we'll start with HTML. You'll get used to it. Not a problem. So we'll create a simple project here. Right click, new project, and we choose here UI5. And you see here SAP UI5 application development application project is what I am going to create. So say next. Now, okay, I will come to the question, Ram. So just let me finish one simple app. So I say next, and I choose here project name, say demo UI5. That's my name of the application I'm creating. Right now I am not following any model view controller approach. We will introduce MVC in coming chapter. So right now I uncheck this option, don't create a view, and I choose the library. See here the library, SAP UI Commons is what I am going to use, and I say finish. System will automatically create my first project. So Ram has a question, can we drag and drop the controls while we are developing them just like in WebIntro? You cannot right now, but in WebIDE there is something called layout editor. When I introduce WebIDE to you, that time I will show you, there you can do a drag and drop, but here everything is a manual code. But don't worry, you will enjoy this coding. So now you see system has created a project. In this you can see an index.html is created. This is your starting point of the app. Okay, so it's a typical HTML5. Every HTML5 which you see in the world contains two sections. So first is called HTML. It has a header and a body. In the header they will put all the metadata. So metadata like this application is supported by Internet Explorer 8, and also the encoding type for characters, like what kind of character encoding it is using. We'll discuss about this in detail in HTML chapter. Then comes the script tag. This is your UI5 bootstrap. This code will load UI5 library into the browser, UI5 libraries into the browser. And you see here it says the source of the library is resources of SAP UI Core.js. It is referring the resources of UI5 library locally. Okay, let me show you now in resources here, SAP UI5 library. See here in my resources, JavaScript resources, I can see all the libraries which are available, but browser will not load all of them into the browser. System will not load all of them into the browser. System will only load the libraries when whichever is needed. If you load all the libraries in the browser, your application will slow down. Yeah, even though you don't need them, application will slow down. So that's why we write here the libraries which we want to load. So you see, we are just loading SAP UI Commons library, which means if you are using any other library than this, you need to mention it here. So suppose I want to create a table also, so I use SAP UI table here. If you don't do this and you are using this library in the code, your application will dump. Okay, we'll talk about it also in detail as and when we progress. Of course, we cannot cover everything in one demo. We need to go step by step, and learning should be done on everyday basis with some or the other way, and we will be achieving everything in detail together. Then comes the theme. It loads the blue crystal theme by default. This is the theme. What is the theme? It's just the look and feel of your app. Just like in Gmail, you must have chosen theme for your inbox. You can customize it. So similarly, here is the theme which changes application look and feel. There are new themes like SAP High Contrast theme. There's a theme called Gold Reflection theme. Also with Fiori 2.0, there is a new theme introduced called SAP Bleeze theme. Yeah. So then comes our code. So we write always our code in the below script and script tag. You'll understand what is the script tag in HTML when we will reach to JavaScript chapter. Okay, and here is where I will now write my syntax. So if you remember the syntax, var control name, new library name, and the control name inside this library, ID of the control, and properties. So let me copy this syntax from here. I copy this, I come back, and I just put it in a commented code. This is how you write commented code in JavaScript. Put double slash. In ABAP, you put star at the beginning. That will become a commented code. In JavaScript, it is double slash, which means this code will not be executed. It's just a comment. And you can say here, create a new input field. Okay, I'm creating a new input field. So say var, see the syntax, var control name, I name it as OINP. Let me give this OINP equals to, new is a keyword, new library name. We are using UI Commons library. So sap.ui.commons dot, and now I use the control name. So the moment I put dot, you see it shows me IntelliSense. Technically, this is called IntelliSense. IntelliSense means automatic help. Okay, you can also call it as code completion in easy word. Code completion comes up, and here you can see the controls which are available in this library. And you know what we can do here, you just put the control name as text field. We'll use text field. The moment I select text field, on the left hand side you can see the properties of this control. It has a value property, text direction property, enabled property, editable property. These are all the properties which are available for this control. So you don't need to go anywhere to look at these properties. All of them are present here. Okay, so we just create a text field, double click on this, it will be created. Now you see SID in settings. So we give an ID in double quotes, say TXT is the ID of this control. I do not give any settings, just to create a text field on the screen. Perfect. Yeah, we created a text field. Now, one important thing to remember, when it's a HTML page, an HTML page will only display the content which is there in the body of HTML. HTML will never display something on the screen until you put it in the body of HTML. So in the body of HTML, you see there is only something called a div tag with an ID called content. You don't have anything in the body other than this, but you just created a control. This control needs to be placed into the body of HTML. So for this control, we call a method called place_at method. Okay, place_at method, and we place this particular control now in the body of HTML. So the ID of this control is content. You can change the ID also here. You can just say Joker, and now you say, I want to place my input field which I created in this Joker control, in this Joker control in the body. So I am placing my input field which I created in the Joker. Joker is part of body, and body is what gets displayed to the user. Save this, that's it. We will execute this and we'll see our first app. So you literally don't need any server at all. You can just right click, run as, and say web app preview. So you see how powerful it is to use Eclipse. You don't need anything, guys, any server to test your app. Nothing is required. Just say run as web app preview, application will launch, and now we will just copy this URL and launch it in our browser. Okay, we'll launch it in the browser. So I copy this, come back to the browser, put the same URL over here, and let's see what happens. And wow, there you go. You can see the blue screen got loaded, which means your SAP UI5 is loaded successfully with the theme blue crystal, and you see the input field over here, and I can say Anubhav, anything I can type in here. Superb. That's your first control which you created. Now let's create a button control also. So we come back here and we say var, same syntax, var control name, let's say Spider-Man. That's my control name equals new sap.ui.commons. That's your library name dot your control name. So just type B and you see there is a button control. On the left you see the properties for the button control. So there's a text property for button label of the button. If you come down, you will see events also. There is an event called press. This event will trigger whenever user click on the button. Okay. So you can write a function at front of this event, event listener function. You see it receives input as an event listener function. So we got to input a function in this, and that function will be executed whenever user click on the button. So let's go ahead and create this button. So button control, and we give an ID as BTN. That's the ID of the button, comma, curly braces, and we put here the text property for the button, and we just give the text property name as click me, or I can just say Spider-Man. That will be label of the button, and now we put press action. So whenever user press the button, what should happen? That you can write in a function. So you see I am writing just a function. In this function I can write whatever I like, and that code will be executed. So we just have an input field, okay, and I want to show the content of the input field in a pop-up. So I say alert function. This is a JavaScript function, alert, to display a pop-up to the user and say input field control dot get value. So input field control dot get value will give you the value what user entered in the input field, and that I'm showing inside a pop-up. That's what I'm doing here. Never copy paste the code. If you copy paste the code, you will not learn. And that is the major problem of most of the trainers and even other courses which you have seen till now. They all have a ready-made code somewhere written in a notepad or some PPT. What they do, they just copy this code snippet, they paste it in Eclipse, they run the code, they show you the output, and according to them, this is the training. This is not the training. They are fooling. They are fooling the whole world. They are not teaching actually. They are fooling. If you want to learn copy paste, do not join my course. I will not do copy paste of code. I will write every single line of code so that you understand the meaning of every single line of code. Never do copy paste. I encourage all my students to not do copy paste of code. Write every single line of code. So you do mistakes. More mistakes you do, more learning you will have. Never do copy paste of code. Never, guys. So we will also not do it. We write every single line of code so that you understand what am I doing. Yeah, so there you go. We created alert, and in this we getting the value of the input field which will be displayed, and now we got to place this button also into the body of HTML. So let's create one more div tag at the bottom. So div tag with an ID called ABC, and now we just place our button control, which is ospiderman.place at inside the ABC element in the body. Until the element goes in the body, it will not be visible to the user. Remember, very important basic of your HTML. So save it. Let's come back and refresh the page. We will see a Spider-Man button coming on the screen. Voila, there you go, your Spider-Man button. I type a text here, welcome to UI5, and I click on button Spider-Man, and you see a pop-up comes up, welcome to UI5, displaying the text what you entered into the input field. Going forward, we will see a lot more interesting stuff, including HTML, the basics. You will also understand depth of this course, depth of this code basically. This is JavaScript code. This is more like JavaScript syntax what we are following here. In JS chapter you will understand the syntax. We will also see the best practices. So my idea is not to cover just the controls and the concepts. My idea is to make you prepare for interview. My idea is to make you understand the right standards so that you do not, when you write a code, nobody can question that code. So it's important to follow standards. We will follow standards, follow right naming conventions. So I will also make you understand with the right naming conventions which you need to follow. Okay, all that we will do. Understand the depth of code and never copy paste the code. This is going to be key things of this course which you will not find anywhere else. Now let me also tell you a couple of things, very important JavaScript things. So we call them as fundafox. So these are my own things which I keep it in mind just to keep the standards in place, the standards in mind. Fundafox. So what is a fundafox? So first thing is JavaScript is case sensitive, which means if I convert this var ka v capital, if var v is capital, it will not work. This will not work. See, the color also changed in Eclipse. That's the beauty of using Eclipse. Color also changed. It's not correct. It is case sensitive, remember. It's case sensitive, guys. Now I save this, come back and refresh the page. It will not work. You say come back, refresh, you see it's not loading. Because JavaScript is case sensitive, v has to be small. This is first thing you need to keep in mind. Second thing is any method which you are calling, any method or in JavaScript, the variable name and method name always follows camel case. What does it mean? So if I'm writing Anubhav Oberoi, okay, so how you write this in JavaScript? So camel case is what you need to follow. Camel case means the first letter of your word should be small and next consecutive letter of the word should be capital letter. Okay, so first word, there are two words here, Anubhav and Oberoi. So first letter of first word should be small. And next word, you see Oberoi. For this, the first letter should be capital. So Oberoi. Like this, you will be writing any variable or any method which you are calling. Remember, this is how you will be following it. So if you say, kill my low knowledge, how are you going to write it? Can anybody type in and tell me how are you going to write this particular word in JavaScript in camel case? How you will write this word in JavaScript in camel case? Anybody? Can you type it in the chat box and send me the response? How are you going to write this particular word? Very good. Very good, Ram. You got the right answer. Let's see who else have answered. Jagdish, you are also right. Correct. Sudarshan, Surendra, good. Yes, you all are right. So kill is the first word which should start with lower letter. Shrikant, Mohsin, this is not correct from your end. Next word is my. My is another word. So you type M capital, M-Y. Then low. Low is third word. So L should be capital. And then knowledge. Knowledge is the fourth word for which the first letter is K, which should be capital. This is how it is going to be. So hope you understand this now. So kill my low knowledge. So you have K small. First letter always comes small when you're starting, and then next consecutive word, first letter should be capital. That's how you're going to start with this. Okay. Great. there are a couple of questions here. Let me take them. So for the text field, we have HTML tag as well. Why can't we use HTML5 instead of? Very good question, Jagdish. This question you will yourself answer when we will cover HTML5 chapter. Okay. You will yourself answer this question when we cover HTML5 chapter. Okay. I will come to this question when you cover HTML5 chapter. Why we cannot directly write the tag of HTML to build our application? Why we are using the object being created from UI5 framework? We will come to this question when we will talk about HTML5 chapter. Second question, do we need SAP environment to run the app? No, as I showed you, it runs completely with Eclipse locally. I will also show you how to set up your Eclipse. Okay, I will show you set up your Eclipse in the next session. This is what we'll do. So now this is the JS syntax. If you come back here, you see we have used the same thing. Get value is a function. So first letter is small, G is small. Next consecutive word is value. So V is capital, you see. And if you do a mess up here, it will not work. If I just put get value V as small, it will not work. Okay, it will not work. Sorry. So let me show you. I come back, refresh the page. And you see I enter the value ABC and I click on the button and you see pop-up is not coming. Why? Because we did a mess up with the method name. Method name is get value V is capital. So we messed it up. That's why it is not working. This is the right JavaScript code. Save this, come back, refresh the app. It will reload. You enter the data once again. And click on this and you can see once again it's coming up over here. So very simple example, just to give you a brief introduction of what this course is all about. What is that we are all going to cover? How is that we are all going to cover? Do you really like my teaching style or not? This is all you need to get aware before you get started, before you really pay for the fee. So it's important that you judge me, you test me. Okay, and then only you're confident, yes, this guy is helpful, this guy can teach me, then definitely I'll go with it. Okay, now next question comes here. Can we use AngularJS? No, we cannot, we should not. We will use only SAP UI5. You can use AngularJS along with UI5, it is possible, but it is not in the scope of this course. I will not teach you AngularJS uses with UI5. I will only teach you UI5. But since we are using UI5 here with HTML5, CSS and JavaScript, you can include and club AngularJS also. Okay. Yes, generally we can use together with it. We can. Can we debug the code? We will see the debugging in the next unit when we will go to JavaScript chapter. That is where we will see debugging. You can debug the code also, whatever JavaScript code you're writing. We will see it in the next unit. So Surendra has a question. I tried myself watching some videos, right, UI5, but binding is a problem I will cover, right? Yes, binding is the most important concept which we will discuss. It comes under model and control, model and view. So basically you do a binding between your model and the view so that data gets picked up from the model automatically and it will be also pushed into the model. Timing is going to be the same time what you had today. 7 to 8 a.m. India time every weekday morning, and course starts from tomorrow. So if you want to sign up for the course, please send me an email. I will send you all the details, and once you make the payment for the fee, you will be signed up for the course. You will get the invite to join the tomorrow's class from the first session. So if you really want to finalize it by end of the day, it's very important, because I want you to not miss any class. I don't want you to miss any any session from the beginning. Please do that. Please you provide any public IP for connect our app with mobile. No, we do not see mobile app development in terms of native mobile app development. We'll see Fiori app development, and I also do not provide any public IP for deploying it. I will show you how to deploy it in the cloud. So there is one of the app which I deployed. I will show you those examples. We just started, guys. Everything you cannot cover in one demo session. So we got to really, start with it. you can also look at the videos. If you're still not sure about the quality of the training, you go and look at my YouTube channel. You will find some more UI5 videos and Fiori videos over there, okay, for your information. Then I'm not in India. Any weekend course? No weekend batch is available for this course. Only weekday batch. If the timings are not convenient, you can go with video based training. That should be okay. Yes, you need to have a Gmail account to access the calendar events. I will also send you the calendar invite, those who have already signed up for the course. I've already sent the invite to all of them. They can join the regular classes from tomorrow. Calendar request is already sent to all of you, those who have signed up for the course. Those who will sign up today, I will send the calendar invite as well as blog access, which I showed you at the beginning. So that blog access, I'll show you one existing blog for my last batch where we have covered all the topics, and I'll show you the video recorded sessions for that. You can also opt for the video based recording. This is the recent batch which I've completed. You can see here all the videos, all the recorded videos are available here for all the topics. We have actually covered more than what I committed. More than what I committed I've covered in this. So you can see all the videos actually for the course. Table control, binding, formatter, models, navigation concept, SDK, MVC, shell control, row select, Fiori, OOPS ABAP chapters as I committed. OOPS ABAP complementary videos will be provided. Resource model, XML model, OOPS ABAP, list control, filtering, searching, master detail application, custom controls, fragments, Google Map integration, component, manifest, OData, router, service creation, service consumption, you can see. And one complete end-to-end POC we developed in HANA Cloud Platform for Fiori app, along using Viz control, Viz chart control, and pinging, getting the data from Yahoo API also. So this is what I've covered in my last batch. You can see all the videos are also available. So if somebody want to go with pure video course, go for it. I will give you an access of this blog. You can all cover it. Okay. And today's demo class also I've recorded. The recording will be available in the blog. Yeah. Any other questions before we close our demo? Anybody? Any questions before we cover? So the pricing for the fee for video-based learning and the live training is absolutely same. There's no difference. So whether you go with video-based training or you go with the live training, doesn't matter for me. Doesn't matter. That's it. So thank you so much for your time today. Hope to see you on board from tomorrow. Same timing. Those who have already signed up, the request is there with you guys. There is no ABAP experience required. If you have it, it's good to have ABAP knowledge to build OData service. OOPS ABAP is what I will anyways cover. How to ask doubt on the video course. You can always create a blog post. As I showed you at the beginning of the course, there is a section called blog post. You can create a blog there. I will answer your questions right in there. Blog post. You can create a blog post. You can email me also your doubts. I will reply back. Or you can join one of the live class in the middle. I will send you the request. You can join it in the middle and ask the questions. There are many ways. You can call me, you can email me, you can fix the time with me over the weekend to ask your doubts. Everything is possible. There are many ways to ask and clarify your doubts. But idea is to make you self-dependent. Over a period of time, you don't get any doubt at all. Okay, you won't get any doubt at all. Okay. Yes, I will cover manifest.json, component.js, which is a UI component extension, and then we will also talk about the router concept, the most important concept for navigation between different screens. We will cover that in this course.
Anubhav, this is Mohsin here.
You will have blog access till 8 months from the starting of the course. So you will have 8 months of access for the blog.
Hello, Anubhav.
Yes. Yes, hi.
Yeah, hi, Anubhav. This is Mohsin here.